We want to take you now back to our top story, new Canadian guidelines for the risks associated with alcohol consumption. For the latest on this, let's bring in Dr. Cara Thompson, a collaborating scientist in the Canadian Institute for Substance Use Research. Thank you so much for joining us on CP24. Obviously, a lot has changed over the last 12 years compared to the old guidance that said 2 drinks a day were safe. So what's changed here?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, really what's changed is that we've had a decade of research since the previous guidelines have come out. And with scientific advances, we've really seen the evidence come a long way. And that evidence has shown us that really no amount of alcohol is safe, and that the more you drink, the more you increase your risk for alcohol-related harms.
You know, for so many people out there who are watching this and say, well, you know, I have a glass of wine, maybe 2 every night for dinner. Well, I've been told that a glass of wine a night is okay. Is that no longer the case?
There's been a lot of myths around, wine is good for our health, and the evidence is very clear that no amount of alcohol is good for our health. That said, the guidelines are not about telling people what to do. They're about informing them of alcohol-related risks and giving them the information and tools to make informed decisions about what level of risk is acceptable for them.
And we're seeing some of the new guidance that are saying that 3 to 6 drinks is considered moderate, 7 or more drinks is considered high risks. Does it differ at all, whether it's male or female? Obviously, you know, there's a lot of big guys out there that could probably have a few beers and, you know, walk a straight line, and might be less affected by the effects of the alcohol than someone who's smaller. Does it really, did the guidance really compare it between men and women at all?
Yeah, so as you know, previously the old guidelines did have different recommendations for men and women. But in this continuum of risk at low levels, there really isn't very much difference, or a minimal difference, in the risks for men and women. That said, if you look closely at the guidance, what you'll see is that once we exceed 6 drinks per week, the risk starts to really exponentially increase for women due to these biological differences in their ability to process alcohol. For men, though, men drink more, and as a result, they are more likely to be injured and experience alcohol-related risks than women overall.
Obviously, something that's deeply concerning is what we're learning is the risk of cancer that could be developed. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so cancer is a leading cause of death in Canada, and we know that alcohol is a carcinogen, and it is directly linked to 7 different types of cancer, and that 7,000 Canadians die from alcohol-related cancer, mostly breast and colon cancer, every year. And that awareness of alcohol being a carcinogen is pretty low among people living in Canada. And we hope that the guidelines are going to really strengthen awareness around alcohol as being a key contributor to cancer risk.
You know, you look around, and I think you could maybe make the argument that probably more people have casual drinks than there are people who are regular smokers. Yet on a pack of cigarettes, you've got all these warnings and, you know, very graphic photos of the risks of how you could potentially get cancer from smoking. Do you ever, you know, think that that could potentially happen with alcohol bottles as well?
Yeah, one of our key recommendations from the new guidance is that the government introduce alcohol labeling on containers. And in particular, what we're advocating for is that alcohol containers contain the number of standard drinks, so the number of drinks that are in each beverage container, so that Canadians know how many drinks they're having, as well as these health warnings and access to direction to more information. How are they going to get more information about their alcohol-related risks?
You know, Doctor, we have so much talk about the healthcare system being front and center and how it's been overloaded. And you know, one of the ways that we keep these things going is by taxes. And, you know, there's a heavy tax on tobacco. And I'm wondering if you think that maybe raising the taxes on alcohol sales would also be a good idea to help offset some of the costs of our healthcare system.
Well, we know when alcohol is cheap and readily available that people drink more of it. So certainly policies related to price, and particularly setting a minimum price and pricing according to alcohol content, so how much alcohol is in the containers, is an evidence-based strategy for reducing alcohol-related harm.
A very important topic. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. Dr. Cara Thompson, collaborating scientist at the Canadian Institute for Substance Use and Research. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.